All right, here we are at DrupalCon 2019, and look who I ran into on the hallway here, Scott Brinker, who has a book that Wiley published at about the same time that I published the Agile Marketer called Hacking Marketing, which is
Wiley was trying to corner the Agile market.
They were trying to corner, and they did for a little while. There's been a lot of great other content written recently on this topic, of course. So Scott, great to see you. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
What brings you to DrupalCon? Why are you here?
I was just presenting a keynote on their content and marketing track, which was a new track here at DrupalCon this year. It's fantastic.
All right.
So helping people understand, wow, how do we take advantage of this collision between the world of marketing and the world of technology?
Yeah, totally. And can you pull out one or two themes that you touched on in your session?
Yeah, so the things I get really excited about are how we balance these supposedly opposing forces in marketing and marketing tech.
Yeah.
You know, and the two I really focused on is centralization versus decentralization.
Okay.
How do we leverage these centralized technologies like, well, you know, Drupal is a WCM platform,
Sure. Yep.
but do it to empower the edge of the organization to work faster and have more flexibility. And then the other, axis that we're trying to balance is automation, right? We want to bring more and more automation and efficiency, but how do we balance in the human dimension to this, the human engagement with customers and frankly, the human management of our organizations themselves?
Awesome. These are topics that I feel like are super relevant for Pantheon. I think everybody knows the work that you've done mapping out the MarTech ecosystem, the very complex MarTech
famous
ecosystem.
for the wrong reasons, I'm afraid.
Yes, well,
that crazy
all
thing.
press is good press. You know what? I think you've focused people's. The fact is, marketers are overwhelmed with the amount of technology that's coming into their world. So this is a good segue for us to talk a little bit about Agile and the way that Agile is empowering marketers to sort of come to grips with all this software that they have to deal with. I think most marketers at this point have come to realize that Agile is the proven best practice for managing software, but when they use it in the context of their world, they're starting to see benefits that go beyond just the productivity benefits that are associated with, software development.
Yep.
I know that these are some of the themes in your book. Can you just talk a little bit about how you see that playing out?
Yeah, well, I think, two levels to this. One is a lot of what the technology enables marketing to do is it really treats digital as a canvas, that's very malleable. It's very easy to try things, get feedback, adjust.
Yes.
And really Agile, to me, one of its great benefits is sort of giving people a framework for saying, okay, well, how do we take advantage of these very flexible platforms to learn from this iteration and get business value out of it? And then I think the second level to it where I see a lot of Agile help to wrestling with marketing technology is just the technologies themselves are constantly changing and in flux. And even if you stick with one software, that software is constantly updating and expanding and changing. And so Agile gives you a mindset and an operating system by which, okay, we can roll with this. As things change, we're prepared to embrace that and adapt.
I mean, I think we've seen just this long-standing innovation just with Drupal, right? And,
absolutely.
And the surrounding ecosystem, because it's an open source project, there's just a very rich ecosystem which is continuing to drive that innovation. For marketers to keep up with that is challenging. So,
yep, you know this well.
Yeah, I'm living it, of course. I think that I'm curious to get your take on, since we're talking about tools that enable agility, one of the frameworks that I use to think about these tools I think there's like general purpose tools, project management tools like Jira or Asana or
Trello,
things like that. Yeah, exactly. But then there are purpose-built, very specific tools that might be used for digital advertising or for example, website optimization, Optimizely being a good example, right? Very narrowly focused on how do we operate in an agile fashion when it comes to website testing and personalization. Or, Pantheon, I would say, fits into that category of being a narrow tool that enables web teams to bring agility. Is that a framework that makes sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm looking forward to your session later today talking about, Agile and how this sort of intercepts with web ops. I mean, it just seems like such a perfect fit for that. So,
yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up. You were one of the people who got on the web ops train, or even started the web ops train.
I don't know if I can claim starting it, but I'm certainly on the boat. So on the train.
So that's interesting to me. I think I would say I don't know that most marketers are really familiar with the term web ops, right? It has that word or that combination of words taps into a long tradition associated with DevOps.
Yeah.
And marketers are, of course, becoming more technologically driven, so web ops makes sense. But I'm curious to get your take. What do you think about what are you hearing from marketers that you talk to? Are they aware of that term? Do you feel like it's getting traction?
It's still evolving, right? I mean, again, part of this is the scope of what marketers are now doing with their websites is growing remarkably, right? It's not just a content, vehicle. This is a vehicle we're using for creating interactive experiences. It's becoming a major touch point for just how do we engage with customers, not just to win them initially, but through that entire life cycle. And so I think as that grows, the recognition of, okay, this is more than just publishing a page. There's, a large and rich ecosystem of elements together, and you start to then realize things like, okay, we don't have to invent the wheel on this. This is a discipline, that's evolved, and I think awareness then of web ops and how that fits into the marketing organization, I expect it's going to grow a lot over the next year.
Awesome. Well, we'll both be keeping our eyes on it. I know you got a very busy schedule here, so thank you for stopping by and having a little chat with us.
Thank you, Roland. Cool. Great to see you.
Likewise.